if we're gonna splash in free, we've already splashed with Drew and Rhymes and whatever, because we think they're gonna, let's make it a fucking difference maker. If we have to do it this way and make tough decisions, let's make sure it's a guy that's changing something for us, so we're something different than we were before. You know, because the reality is, any of these guys with X's, besides those two, we haven't won with them for more than a few years. That's the reality of things. That's just being transparent. So, you know, when it comes to free agency, I think we have to look at what we've done well and what we haven't done well. What we've done well in the last couple of years is identify guys on the upswing of their careers. Where we've missed are guys that we're trying to get one more year out of. We think we've had success on getting guys that are sort of on the upward swing of their CFL journey. You talk about in our first free agency period, Jalen Ackland becoming a contributor to our team, and Drew Desjardins last year, a 26-year-old at the peak of his career, and then maybe mitigating, getting guys at the tail end where injuries have become a factor or just aging out. We wanted to have a process that zeroed in on what we were looking to do.
And one of the things, we truly had to identify is who was sticking around. Well, you look at the tailback position as well. While there was, numerous guys out there that people were talking about, we watched every one of those backs, and we watched Devontae Williams and his tape, and we said, man, we ain't gonna focus on those other guys. We got to get this guy back, and we got to get this guy signed. But for me, one thing that was really important is, our defensive ends, making sure Lozo and Bryce were locked up. Really feel the defensive line was one of our best units, and so it was important to solidify that group and have continuity with those two re-signing, and then Wake signing in the middle, along with Cleasy and Kenny. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Justin Hardy. The fact that he said, no, I'm coming back to Ottawa, and he wanted to be here and be part of it. That's another part that was extremely exciting about our free agency period.
Reaction now from our CFL insider, Dave Naylor. Where Ottawa's needed to improve the most the last couple of years is on offense. Let's start with the quarterback news. Drew Brown, do you see him as the clear number one?
I think to open the season, there's not much doubt that Drew Brown will be given every opportunity to be Ottawa's number one quarterback.
We went through the last two seasons and there's some injury issues. And again, researching the rest of the league, most teams hadn't got through their seasons upright at that position. So definitely felt with talking with Coach Dice at the end of the year and just looking at things transparently, we needed to add to that group. Thinking through it, we just wanted to be proactive in getting the guy we wanted. And that's why we made the trade. I invoked some talks with Winnipeg and Kyle at league meetings, and then we circled back the next week and sort of said, this is what we're willing to give up, and they were agreeable, and then it was working through a contract with Drew that we felt worked for both sides.
What's exciting about that, when you look at a guy like Dominic Rhymes, who is a big part of what they did in BC, and he chooses to make the decision. You look at it, he was released and he signed essentially that night because he wanted to be a part of what we're doing here. You trade for the rights for Drew Brown, and you get that done quickly. Believes he's got a great opportunity here and an opportunity to win. One of the things you talk to someone in that position is, their goals are, and Drew's goal is to win, and if he feels just like we do that we can do that in this season.
If we went and got this huge $200K Canadian, let's say, that we deem is going to be a starter, it could affect. I wish it wouldn't impact him before free agency, absolutely, but we also work in a business that sucks sometimes too. So I like to avoid it if we can, but the two that are most critical to me, if he's out of the picture, we'd be totally fucking this guy. I'm not willing to do that, so let's make the decision this week. The old saying, great game, shitty business, right? And I implore our staff and everyone to give players everything they have while they're here, and I expect the same out of them. And when you have to let go of guys that have done that and bled for you and believed in what you're doing, it's a tough reality of sports. It's not something that's not lost upon me in my seat. I have to make those decisions, you have to be able to do those things and separate those things, and sometimes it means tough discussions. Any of these guys with X's, besides those two, we haven't won with them for more than a few years. That's the reality of things, not just being transparent. At that point in the meeting, I felt we had to say it. We can't be the same team that we were in 2023 or 2022 because it ain't fucking working. So we have to address areas where we feel we need to address. Are we gonna be able to address every area? No, you can't. You can't go out there in free agency and just buy everything. You have to develop, you have to produce. And we also have belief in guys that have been here that are gonna take jumps. But you have to be honest with where you're at. And honestly, I felt we had to make some changes as an organization. This is sort of what I would deem our 12 o'clock priority list of the first 4 calls. This is the guy we want. This is our priority. We feel good about it. It doesn't mean we're going to get an answer right away. Guys can take as long as they want in this process.
Power of dice.
I'm not that's not what I'm saying. Might be powder bottom.
What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Doing well, and yourself?
Good, good. You're my first call, man. 12 o'clock Eastern. I had to follow the rules, but I've been waiting to make this call for a long time, put it that way. So just wanted to reach out and formally introduce myself. You're trying to say your pitch is better than anyone else's pitch. And at the same time, guys are going to make decisions on money, but guys don't make decisions just based on money. They have to believe in people that are leading them, and that's my time to sort of talk about our vision. From here, what I would say, like I said, I want you to chop up X's and O's and feel comfortable with that stuff. I can work with Kenny on the rest, but I'm here for you. I'm here to answer anything. But my number one priority was to make sure you're the first guy called by any team in the league right now by me to say, let's make you an Ottawa REDBLACK. That's why we're all involved. It was important for me to talk to Darius. Then it was important for Coach Dice to. Then it was important for Barron to. And even though he knew Barron in Ottawa is different than Barron in Montreal. And we wanted him to be comfortable with his decision.
I got one question.
Sure.
I wear number 6. Is that a possibility for me to come there and wear my number?
Well, I don't want to make a promise because we just traded for a quarterback that's number 6, but I think I can make the ask and go from there. So I'll work on that end, and if it's a deal breaker, I might have to break the tie there. So yeah, you're jazzed up. I'm trying to get Darius Pickett to go here, not anywhere else, and that's my job at that moment. And you have to fire yourself up to do so.
We would be naive to think that these guys don't talk to each other. The fact that our players are not only selling them on what we have going here and what we are building is outstanding. And like I said, and the guys that had options to go to other teams and still wanted to come back because they believed in what we are doing, from a football operations, football organizational standpoint is fantastic. Kudos to Sean and the personnel department and the assistant coaches. Have these guys believe in what we're doing. They want to be here, we want to be here, and we're excited about 2024.